Okay, now let's talk for a while about the Man in Black and the Smoke Monster, since there seems to be a lot of confusion out there. I think that the Smoke Monster could be the Man in Black, but I think that it existed, at least the physical Smoke Monster existed before him going down into the source, and now his consciousness, the Man in Black's consciousness, is inside the Smoke Monster. Just like Mother said, they can't kill each other. His body is dead, but not his spirit. The monster was probably in the light cave all along. Maybe Mother knew that a great ancient evil existed inside the cave, and that's why she was trying to protect it. Once a human broke that seal, the monster was released. After all, the name Lucifer means light bearer, so just because the light seems good, it's tempting and doesn't necessarily mean it is good, just like the tree of knowledge comparison I talked about a little bit ago. The Man in Black is dead, and Jacob knows this, so every time we've seen the Man in Black, except for in this episode, it hasn't actually been the Man in Black, but the monster, at least if this theory is true. The monster's taken almost the permanent form of him, and his soul and memories are entrapped, at least it seems, inside of him. We know that the monster can transform into other people, but it's almost like he's taken the identity of the Man in Black. Almost like identity theft. The Man in Black tells Richard that Jacob took his body and humanity away from him, so it seems to me at least that the Man in Black is now physically the Smoke Monster, but he still has his personality and consciousness. We know later on that Flock is the Man in Black who can turn into the Smoke Monster, and as Flock, he just wants to leave the island, just as he does before he enters the source. So the Man in Black and the monster's motives, personality, and actions are congruent with each other. The main argument against this is that we actually see the Man in Black dead. Again, this is just his physical body though. Yes, it's clear his body is dead, but his soul is intertwined, or so it appears, with the monster. Becoming the monster is much worse than death, because you lose your humanity and are probably attached to the island forever, unless there is no protector. Rousseau always claimed that the monster was a security system. What if this was true and that the monster actually has to protect the island, which is the opposite of what the Man in Black wanted, but what Mother wanted? The Smoke Monster could be the combination of humanity and the light. Every human carries a little bit of the light, like Mother said, but also evil. When the Man in Black came in contact with the light lost its pureness and goodness and turned into something evil and corrupt, yet powerful. The white light became the black smoke, if this theory is true, that is. There's a pretty cool theory out there from Dark Hunt on Dark UFO's Lost site. I'll put a link over there to the site if you want to read it. And it's about how Locke seemed to know what's going on even since season 1. It could have to do with him seeing the light from the source. We know that the golden light in this episode is responsible for the pockets of energy and electromagnetism on the island. We know this because the Man in Black threw the dagger and it stuck to the stones of the well, as well as the light being used for the wheel in the orchid. The other reason is because of the original plane crash. We know it crashed because Desmond didn't push the button in time, which resulted in the buildup of electromagnetism and bringing the plane down. I talked a little bit about this at the beginning of season 6 recaps, but remember back in season 3 when Locke talks to Echo and he asks Echo, what exactly did you see back there? And then he said, I saw it once, once being the key word. We all know, or at least we were led to believe, that he saw the monster twice, once in the Walkabout episode and then also in the end of season 1. But what if he's not actually referring to the monster the first time? What if he didn't actually see the monster? Echo asks him what he saw and he says, a very beautiful bright light, in reference to experience with the Eye of the Island, as he called it. I mentioned it being almost like a bright smoke monster, but remember how Locke seemed to have all this unexplained knowledge of the island, and when asked what brought them there, Locke said it was the island? Well, that would be true if the island did actually bring them there, to the island, since the light source is from the heart of the island, as Mother says, or the eye of the island, as Locke says, and that the light is responsible for the electromagnetism in the hatch that brought the plane down. So Locke could have been right all along if this is true, and possibly encountered the bright light back in the Walkabout episode instead of the monster, which could be why they don't actually show us the monster. When he looks up, he doesn't have a scared or terrified look on his face when he sees it, unlike when we know he sees the monster at the end of season 1 when he looks petrified. He says it was beautiful, which doesn't sound like Smokey to me. Then he sees the light from the hatch, which he misinterprets as being the bright light that he saw earlier from season 1, and it causes him to regain his faith because the light is what he was looking for. The source was the cause of the pockets of energy on the island, bringing Flight 815 down, and was in the hatch as well. Dharma was misusing this energy like Mother said would be done, and turning the failsafe key ended that and saved the world in a sense. Now let's talk about Mother for a bit. I know earlier I said that now I would talk about Mother possibly being the smoke monster to begin with. I know this would go against some theories that I talked about earlier, but just hear me out. This whole episode is spent building up her replacement. We're led to believe that she's chosen Jacob to replace her as protector of the island and the source. But what if she actually chose the man in black to replace her as the smoke monster? I know, kind of a little out there, but the whole episode might be about her manipulating Jacob into eventually throwing his brother into the source, leading to the smoke monster. It could have all started with her leaving the Senate game on the beach to start the rivalry between the twins. If it's true, like I mentioned before, that she was Smokey, she could have disguised herself as Claudia to lead the boy in black to see the settlement and ultimately join them. She could tell that the man in black had all the qualities to be the monster, like being able to lie and so on. Even when they're born, you can tell that she takes an extreme interest in looking at him and not at Jacob. She told Jacob that entering the source would be much worse than death, almost like from experience, just the way she says it. She plants that inside his mind so that when he's irate over the man in black killing her, which she knew would happen, he knew how to get his revenge by throwing him into the source. Jacob could have only been a pawn, and maybe it was symbolized by her raising just the dark stone in the air, like she chose her replacement. It might have been the plan all along and why she loved him more. Yes, I realize there's some holes in this, like her dying and not wanting to leave the island, but it's just another idea to throw out to you guys. And ultimately, that's really what these recaps are all about. Alrighty then, time for this week's version of Gus's photo hunt. Nobody figured out what this piece of the picture was last week, so I'm gonna add another piece of the picture to see if you guys can guess it this week. What do you think it is? And if you do know, the way to win, the only way to win, is by posting a video response to this part. So good luck. Probably just 2 more of these ever. Okay, now for the unanswered questions of this episode. The first question is, how is the smoke monster connected with the source, or better known as the Cave of Light? Second, how did Mother kill all the people at the camp by herself? And the last question, which doesn't have to do with this episode, but when you look back on the show in 10 years, what will be your best memory? Let me know your answers to these 3 questions down below in the comment section so we can all share and read them together. Okay guys, that's it for me. Thanks for watching these videos. I decided that I am not going to do a recap for the last 2 episodes. I'm just going to watch it. No, I'm just joking. I'll do a recap for you guys. But it's going to be kind of tough for me to get the next recap up before the season finale on Sunday, not only because of the short time period, but also because I have finals next week. I'll try really hard though to get it up on that Saturday night or that Sunday morning before the finale. I'll update you guys though on my channel page. Anyways, if you guys haven't yet, if you could, please subscribe by clicking that button up there. I'd really appreciate it, and it would help me out a lot if you did, so thanks if you do. I will see you guys next week, and God bless.